Right now, in this exact moment, you're creating your future with a single choice. The choice to relax into your power or fight against the very forces trying to deliver your dreams. I want you to think about that for a second. Really think about it. How many of you have been taught that success requires struggle? Raise your hands. Keep them up if you've been grinding, hustling, forcing your way towards your goals. Now keep them up if that approach has left you exhausted, frustrated, maybe even further from what you want than when you started. That you must swim upstream against life's natural current. That if it's not hard, it's not worth having. I'm here to tell you something that might sound completely backwards to everything you've been conditioned to believe. The harder you grasp for your dreams, the more elusive they become. The more you force, the more resistance you create. The more you struggle, the more you push away the very thing you're trying to attract. This isn't some mystical concept. This is how life actually works. When you watch a river, does it struggle to reach the ocean? When you observe a tree growing, is it straining and stressing to reach toward the sun? When you see a bird in flight, is it fighting the air or dancing with it? And you, whether you realize it or not, are part of nature. You are governed by the same principles that govern everything else in this universe. Yet somehow we've convinced ourselves that human achievement is different, that we must battle and force and struggle our way to success. Let me tell you about Sarah. 3 years ago, Sarah was the definition of a go-getter. She worked 16-hour days building her business. She sacrificed her health, her relationships, her peace of mind, all in pursuit of her dream to create financial freedom for her family. She was doing everything the success gurus told her to do. She was hustling harder than anyone she knew. She was further from her goals after 2 years of grinding than she had been when she started. Lying in that hospital bed, she couldn't push, couldn't force, couldn't struggle anymore. She had no choice but to surrender, to relax, to let go, to let go. And in that state of complete surrender, something remarkable happened. Ideas started flowing. Solutions appeared. Opportunities presented themselves that she had been too busy struggling to notice before. Within 6 months of recovering, she had not only saved her business, but expanded it beyond anything she had imagined possible during those years of forcing. Instead of pushing against the current, she learned to move with it. Instead of forcing doors open, she learned to notice which ones were already opening. Instead of swimming upstream with all her might, she turned around and let the river carry her to where she was meant to go. Sarah didn't become a different person. She didn't acquire new skills or knowledge. She didn't suddenly get lucky. She simply stopped fighting against the very forces that were trying to help her succeed. When was the last time you accomplished something significant while completely relaxed? When did you last solve a major problem from a place of ease rather than stress? When did you make your best decision? Was it when you were panicked and desperate, or when you were calm and centered? Take a moment to think about that. The pattern is always the same. Your best results, your biggest breakthroughs, your most inspired actions, they come from a relaxed state. They come when you're flowing, not forcing. They think relaxation means inaction. They think letting go means giving up. They think ease means lazy. This couldn't be further from the truth. Relaxation isn't passivity. It's alignment with natural law. It's tuning yourself to the frequency where solutions exist instead of the frequency where problems live. It's positioning yourself to receive the guidance, the opportunities, the resources that are always flowing towards you when you're not blocking them with struggle and resistance. Think about a radio. If you want to listen to a specific station, you tune the dial to that frequency. You don't force the radio to play that station. You don't struggle with it. You simply adjust to the right frequency, and the music flows through clearly. Your life works exactly the same way. Success, abundance, love, health, they all broadcast on specific frequencies. When you're stressed, when you're forcing, when you're in struggle mode, you're tuned to a completely different station. You're tuned to the frequency of problems, obstacles, and resistance. You don't create success. Success is always there. You simply remove the interference that's blocking its reception, not the responsibility that says you have to work harder, push more, force better results. The responsibility that says you get to choose your frequency. You get to choose whether you approach your goals from struggle or from. Most people take responsibility for their actions, but not for their energy. They focus on what they're doing, but ignore how they're being. They measure their effort by how hard they're working, instead of how aligned they are with what they want. Real responsibility means recognizing that blame creates static on your manifestation frequency. Every time you point a finger at circumstances, at other people, at the economy, at your past, at anything outside yourself, you're essentially saying that you're powerless. You're broadcasting on the victim frequency, where solutions don't exist. It's simple. When you shift from blame to ownership, something magical happens. You stop being a victim of your circumstances and start being the creator of your experience. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, how is this happening for me? You stop seeing obstacles and start seeing opportunities. When you're in creator mode, your brain looks for evidence of how things can work. Same circumstances, completely different results, based entirely on the frequency you choose to operate from. It's about relaxing into who you already are at your core. Every seed contains the blueprint for the entire tree. Every acorn carries within it the potential for a mighty oak. It doesn't have to struggle to become a tree. It simply has to stop resisting its own natural growth. You were born with everything you need to manifest your dreams. The blueprint is already there. The potential is already activated. Your job isn't to force growth. It's to remove the obstacles to growth. It's to stop fighting your own expansion. And here's the beautiful paradox. The moment you truly relax into your power, action becomes effortless. When you're aligned, when you're tuned to the right frequency, you don't have to force yourself to take action. Inspired action flows naturally. You find yourself doing exactly what needs to be done without the exhaustion, without the resistance, without the struggle. From pushing against life to dancing with it. It's in with it. But it starts with understanding that everything you've been taught about achievement might be backwards. It starts with recognizing that success comes from personal growth, not from external circumstances. A farmer doesn't grow crops by yelling at the soil. A builder doesn't create a strong foundation by rushing the process. And you don't manifest your dreams by fighting against the very laws that govern manifestation. He waters consistently, provides the right nutrients, removes the weeds, and allows nature to do what nature does best. He works with the seasons, not against them. He knows that forcing a seed to grow faster only damages the plant. You plant them through clear intention. You water them with consistent, relaxed action. You remove the weeds of doubt and resistance, and you trust the process to unfold in its perfect timing. He doesn't try to construct a roof before the walls are ready. He doesn't rush the concrete before it has time to cure. He knows that shortcuts in the foundation create problems in the entire structure. Strong foundations are built slowly, with patience, with presence. Each day's growth builds upon the previous day's growth. Small, consistent actions compound into extraordinary results. but only when they're taken from a place of alignment, rather than desperation. This is what separates people who achieve lasting success from people who burn out chasing it. Successful people understand the compound effect of relaxed consistency. They know that a small action taken from the right energy every day will always outperform massive action taken from struggle. When you try to force results, you actually slow down the process. When you're desperate, you make poor decisions. When you're stressed, you miss opportunities that are right in front of you. When you're in struggle mode, you repel the very people and circumstances that could help you succeed. But when you relax into your power, when you align with natural law, when you stop fighting the current, everything changes. You see solutions you missed before. You notice opportunities that were always there. You attract people and circumstances that support your success. You make decisions from clarity instead of fear. Life operates on universal patterns. When you understand the rhythm, you can dance with it instead of fighting it. Every single thing around you follows predictable cycles. Your heartbeat, your breath, the seasons, the tides, the phases of the moon. Everything in nature works in patterns, and your success follows the exact same blueprint. How many of you have noticed that your life seems to go in cycles? Raise your hands if you've experienced periods of expansion, followed by periods of contraction. Keep them up if you've noticed that your biggest breakthroughs often come after your most challenging times. You can lower your hands. What you just acknowledged is one of the most powerful success principles on the planet. Everything moves in cycles. Your business, your relationships, your creativity, your energy, your manifestations. The people who win in life are the ones who recognize these patterns and work with them instead of against them. Most people panic during the contraction phase. They think something's wrong. They think they're going backwards. They think they've lost their magic, their momentum, their mojo. So what do? They start forcing again. They start struggling. They start swimming upstream just when the current is about to carry them exactly where they want to go. Think about winter. Does a farmer panic in winter? Does he dig up his seeds because nothing's growing? Does he curse the earth for being dormant? Of course not. He knows that winter is the preparation phase. He knows that the invisible work happening beneath the surface during winter determines the abundance of the harvest in summer. Your life has seasons too. There are times for planting ideas, times for nurturing growth, times for harvesting results, and times for rest and preparation. When you try to harvest in winter or plant in autumn, you create unnecessary struggle and poor results. But here's what successful people understand that others miss. Every season serves the whole. The contraction phases aren't obstacles to your success. They're essential ingredients for your success. They're when you integrate what you've learned. They're when you build the internal capacity to handle the next level of expansion. I know a man named David who built 3 different million-dollar businesses. Each time he started a new venture, he would track the patterns. He noticed that every business went through the same 4 phases. First, the planting phase. Lots of action, little visible result. Then the growth phase. Momentum building, things starting to click. Then the harvest phase. Rapid expansion, big results flowing in. And finally, the integration phase. Slower growth, time to strengthen systems and prepare for the next cycle. Most entrepreneurs quit during the planting phase or panic during the integration phase. David learned to recognize these patterns and adjust his expectations and actions accordingly. During planting, he focused on consistent daily activities, without attachment to immediate results. During growth, he accelerated his efforts. During harvest, he stayed present and grateful while preparing for integration. During integration, he resisted the urge to force and instead focused on strengthening his foundation. The result, each business grew larger than the last because he wasn't fighting the natural rhythm. He was dancing with it. This same pattern shows up in your manifestations. You set an intention. That's planting. You take inspired action and notice small signs. That's growth. Your desire manifests. That's harvest. You enjoy and integrate the experience. That's rest. Then the cycle begins again with an even bigger dream. But most people get impatient during the growth phase. They can't see the progress, so they assume nothing's happening. They start doubt. They start forcing. They start looking for evidence that it's not working. They break their own manifestation cycle right before the breakthrough. Who here has given up on something just before it was about to work? Be honest. Raise your hands. We've all done it. We've all stopped watering the garden right before the harvest. The key is learning to read the signs, learning to recognize which phase you're in so you can respond appropriately instead of reacting from fear. When you're in the planting phase, focus on consistency, not results. When you're in the growth phase, pay attention to the subtle signs of progress instead of demanding dramatic proof. When you're in the harvest phase, receive with gratitude and prepare for integration. When you're in the integration phase, resist the urge to immediately start the next big thing and instead focus on consolidating your gains. This brings us to the real enemy of your dreams. Not circumstances, not other people, not lack of resources or connections or experience. The real enemy is the in your head that says you have to struggle to deserve success, that says if it's not hard, it's not real, that convinces you to fight against the very patterns that would carry you to your dreams. Let's talk about self-sabotage. Every single person in this room has sabotaged their own success at some point. Every single one. You know how I know? Because if you hadn't, you'd already have everything you want. Self-sabotage shows up in predictable ways. Procrastination when it's time to take the next important step. Perfectionism that prevents you from ever finishing anything. The not enough story, not enough time, not enough money, not enough experience, not enough connections. Suddenly getting busy with unimportant tasks when important opportunities arise. But here's what most people don't understand about self-sabotage. It's not trying to hurt you. It's trying to protect you. Your subconscious mind is designed to keep you safe, and success represents change, growth, the unknown. From your subconscious perspective, the unknown is dangerous. So when you start moving towards your dreams, when you start expanding beyond your comfort zone, your protective mechanisms kick in. They create resistance. They make you procrastinate. They fill your head with doubt and fear and excuse, not because they want you to fail, but because they want you to stay safe in the familiar. The difference between successful people and everyone else isn't that successful people don't experience this resistance. They do. The difference is how they respond to mediocre people believe the resistance. They take it as evidence that they're not ready, not capable, not worthy. Successful people recognize the resistance as a sign that they're growing. They expect it, they welcome it, they relax into it instead of fighting it. When a successful person feels afraid, they think, great, this means I'm expanding. When a mediocre person feels afraid, they think this means I should stop. Same feeling, completely different interpretation, completely different result. Successful people ask, how can I? Mediocre people ask, why can't I? The questions you ask determine the answers you get. Your brain is a question-answering machine. When you ask it why you can't do something, it will find you 100 reasons. When you ask it how you can do something, it will find you solutions. Successful people conserve their energy for what matters. They don't waste time and mental energy on drama, gossip, worry, or blame. They protect their manifesting frequency like it's their most valuable asset, because it is. Mediocre people scatter their energy in all directions and then wonder why they don't have the focus or power to create what they want. Successful people follow natural timing. They plant in spring and harvest in fall. They take inspired action when the energy is flowing and rest when it's time to integrate. Mediocre people try to force timing. They want to harvest before they've planted. They want results without process. They want the destination without the journey. Who here has tried to skip steps? Hands up. We've all done it. We all want the microwave version of success. But some things can't be microwaved. Some things require slow cooking to develop properly. Here's a simple framework for eliminating self-sabotage patterns. First, awareness. You can't change what you're not aware of. Start noticing when you're in resistance mode. What does it feel like in your body? What thoughts are running through your mind? What behaviors show up? Second, to pause. When you catch yourself in a self-sabotage pattern, don't fight it. Don't judge it. Don't try to force your way through it. Simply pause. Take 3 slow breaths. Let your nervous system settle. Remember that resistance is normal, expected, and actually a sign of growth. Third, redirect. From that relaxed state, choose a different thought or action. Instead of "I'm not ready," try "I'm learning as I go." Instead of "I don't have enough time," try "I'll use the time I have effectively." Instead of "what if I fail," try "what if I succeed beyond my wildest dreams." Fourth, practice. This isn't a one-time thing. It's a daily practice of catching yourself in old patterns and consciously choosing new ones. Every time you do this, you build new neural pathways. You literally rewire your brain for success instead of sabotage. But here's the most important part. You don't eliminate self-sabotage by fighting it. You eliminate it by relaxing through it. When you fight resistance, you create more resistance. When you judge your fear, you create more fear. When you struggle against your old patterns, you give them more power. Blame is another form of self-sabotage that most people don't recognize. Every time you blame someone or something else for your results, you give away your power. You essentially say that your success depends on things outside your control. You make yourself a victim of circumstances instead of the creator of your experience. The victim story and the creator story can describe the exact same circumstances with completely different meaning. Victim story: I lost my job because my boss was unreasonable. Creator story: I lost my job because it was time for me to step into something bigger. Same event, different interpretation, different energy, different future. When you take responsibility for your results, not blame, but ownership, something magical happens. You stop being at the mercy of external circumstances and start being the conscious creator of your experience. You stop waiting for permission and start giving yourself permission. You stop looking for someone to save you and start becoming your own hero. This is where real power lives. Not in controlling external circumstances. You can't do that anyway. But in choosing your response to external circumstance, in choosing your energy, your focus, your interpretation, your next action. These are the only things you can actually control, and they're the only things that actually matter. The moment you truly understand this, everything changes. You stop seeing yourself as a victim of life and start seeing yourself as the artist of life. You stop waiting for your circumstances to change and start changing how you show up to your circumstances. You stop looking for motivation and start becoming the source of your own inspiration. This is the foundation of all manifestation, all achievement, all lasting success. Taking responsibility for your energy and your responses, while releasing attachment to outcomes you can't control. Working with life's natural patterns instead of against them. Recognizing self-sabotage as protection, not punishment, and relaxing through resistance instead of fighting it. When you master these principles, when you truly relax into your power, daily disciplines become effortless. Consistent action becomes natural. Success becomes inevitable. Not because you force it, but because you stop blocking it. Extraordinary results come from ordinary disciplines practiced with extraordinary consistency. And consistency flows from relaxation, not force. When you're aligned with natural law, when you're working with life's patterns instead of against them, discipline doesn't feel like discipline anymore. It feels like dancing. How many of you have tried to force yourself into good habits? Raise your hand. Keep them up if you failed at maintaining those habits because they felt like punishment instead of pleasure. Now keep them up if you've noticed that the habits that stuck were the ones that felt natural, that felt good, that enhanced your life instead of restricting it. The difference between sustainable disciplines and failed resolutions is simple. Energy. When you try to discipline yourself from a place of force, from a place of should, from a place of self-judgment, you create resistance. When you choose disciplines from a place of love, from a place of alignment, from a place of knowing they serve your highest good, they become as natural as breathing. The first hour of your day sets the energy frequency for everything that follows. Most people wake up and immediately check their phone, flooding their consciousness with other people's agendas, other people's problems, other people's energy. They start their day reactive instead of creative. They tune themselves to the frequency of chaos before they even get out of bed. What if I told you that 20 minutes each morning could transform your entire life? Not through force, not through grinding, but through gentle alignment with the energy of what you want to create. Here's what those 20 minutes look like. The first 5 minutes belong to your breath. Not complicated breathing techniques, not forcing anything, just conscious connection with the life force moving through you. Your breath is the bridge between your physical body and your energy. When you start your day by honoring that connection, you ground yourself in the present moment instead of immediately getting lost in mental chatter. The next 5 minutes belong to gratitude. Not forced gratitude for things you don't actually appreciate, but genuine acknowledgement of what's already working in your life. Gratitude is a magnet. It magnetizes more of what you appreciate. When you start your day from gratitude, you tune yourself to the frequency of abundance instead of the frequency of lack. The next 5 minutes belong to your vision. But here's the key. You don't visualize from desperation. You visualize from the feeling of already having what you want. You step into the energy of your fulfilled desire. You feel what it feels like to live that life, to be that person, to have that experience. This isn't fantasy. This is frequency alignment. The final 5 minutes belong to your intention for the day. Not your to-do list, not your obligations, but your intention for how you want to show up. How do you want to feel? What energy do you want to bring? What would make today a success regardless of external outcome? This isn't complicated. This isn't time-consuming. This is 20 minutes that will shift everything if you approach it from the right energy. The right energy being relaxation, presence, and genuine connection with what you're creating. Throughout your day, your most valuable resource isn't your time, it's your energy. Time is finite, but energy is renewable when you know how to manage it. Everything and everyone in your life either adds energy or drains energy. Everything. Who here has noticed that after spending time with certain people, you feel depleted? Raise your hands. Who has noticed that after certain activities, you feel more alive than before? Keep your hands up if you've started making choices based on energy instead of just convenience or obligation. This is energy mastery. This is the skill that separates people who manifest their dreams from people who stay stuck in the same patterns year after year. When you protect your energy like it's your most valuable asset, when you invest it only in people, places, and activities that multiply it, everything changes. This means saying no to good opportunities so you can say yes to great ones. It means setting boundaries that support your manifesting frequency instead of depleting it. It means choosing conversations that elevate you instead of conversations that drain you. It means consuming content that inspires you instead of content that overwhelms you. Between each major activity of your day, take 3 conscious breaths, not because you have to, but because you choose to maintain your alignment. These micro meditations keep you connected to your intention instead of getting swept away by the momentum of busyness. They keep you responsive instead of reactive. They keep you in creator mode instead of victim mode. When challenges arise, and they will, you have a choice. You can handle them from your old programming, which means stress, resistance, and struggle. Or you can handle them from your new understanding, which means 3 breaths, a shift in perspective, and inspired action from a centered place. The people who master manifestation have learned to stay relaxed in the midst of apparent chaos. They've learned that their internal state determines their external results, not the other way around. They've learned that how they respond to challenges matters more than the challenges themselves. By evening, you've either stayed aligned with your vision or you've been pulled into the collective frequency of stress, fear, and limitation. Either is okay. This isn't about perfection. It's about awareness and course correction. Your evening practice is simple. Review your day, not from judgment, but from curiosity. Where did you stay aligned? Where did you get pulled off course? What patterns do you notice? What can you appreciate about your growth? What do you want to experience tomorrow? Then release any resistance that accumulated during the day. Forgive yourself for any moments of misalignment. Thank your challenges for the opportunities they provided to practice staying centered. Set your intention for your subconscious to work on solutions while you sleep. Your subconscious mind processes information all night. It solves problems, makes connections, and downloads insights, while your conscious mind rests. When you give it clear direction before sleep, you wake up with solutions you didn't have the day before. You wake up with clarity about your next steps. You wake up aligned with your purpose. But here's what I want you to understand about energy management. It's not about controlling external circumstances. You can't control other people's moods, traffic patterns, unexpected challenges, or global events. What you can control is how much of your energy you invest in things beyond your influence. The Serenity Prayer says it perfectly. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Your energy is precious. Don't waste it trying to control things you can't control. Invest it in the things you can control. Your thoughts, your responses, your choices, your growth. When you truly master this principle, when you truly learn to invest your energy only where it can make a difference, you become unstoppable. Not because nothing challenges you, but because challenges no longer drain you. They become opportunities to practice staying centered. They become chances to demonstrate your growth. They become evidence of your mastery. This brings us to the advanced levels of manifestation. Beyond the morning practice, beyond energy management, beyond evening integration, the advanced levels are about trusting your intuition and working with divine timing. Your intuition is your direct connection to universal intelligence. It's the GPS system that guides you to your desires through the path of least resistance. But most people can't hear their intuition because they're too busy, too stressed, too caught up in mental chatter to listen to the subtle guidance that's always available. When you're relaxed, when you're centered, when you're aligned with your purpose, intuitive guidance flows naturally. You know when to act and when to wait. You know which opportunities to pursue and which to pass by. You know who to connect with and who to avoid. You know what decisions serve your highest good and what decisions create unnecessary struggle. But here's the challenge. Intuitive guidance often contradicts logical thinking. Logic says push harder when something isn't working. Intuition says try a different approach. Logic says you need to control the timeline. Intuition says trust the process. Logic says you need to figure everything out in advance. Intuition says take the next step and the path will reveal itself. Learning to trust intuitive guidance over logical reasoning is one of the most powerful skills you can develop. Not because logic is bad, but because logic operates from past information, while intuition operates from infinite possibility. This is where faith becomes practical instead of religious. Faith in the process, faith in your ability to handle whatever comes, faith that the universe is conspiring to deliver your dreams, not withhold them, faith that everything is working out for your highest good, even when it doesn't look that way. Faith isn't blind belief, it's relaxed trust based on understanding how life actually works. When you plant a seed, you have faith it will grow, not because you're naive, but because you understand the principles of growth. When you set an intention and take aligned action, you have faith it will manifest because you understand the principles of manifestation. But doubt will arise, impatience will surface, the in your head will question whether any of this is real. This is normal. This is expected. This is part of the process, not evidence that the process isn't working. When doubt arises, don't fight it, think it. Doubt keeps you grounded. It prevents you from becoming delusional. It reminds you to stay connected to reality while reaching for possibility. The key is not eliminating doubt, but transforming it into curiosity. Instead of this will never work, try, I wonder how this will work. Instead of I'm not seeing results, try, I wonder what results are building beneath the surface. When impatience surfaces, remember the farmer. The farmer doesn't dig up his seeds to check if they're growing. He trusts the invisible process happening underground. He knows that growth follows natural timing, not human deadlines. He knows that premature harvesting destroys the crop. Your manifestations follow the same principles. They grow in the invisible realm before appearing in the visible realm. They follow divine timing, not your time. They require faith in the process, not proof of the process. Here's what I want you to understand as we bring this together. Everything you desire already exists in the quantum field, in the realm of infinite possibility, in the space where all potentials live. Your dreams are already real. Your job isn't to create them from nothing. Your job is to align yourself with their frequency so they can materialize through you. This is why relaxation is the key to manifestation. This is why ease attracts what struggle repels. This is why surrender accelerates what force delays. You're not pushing your dreams into existence. You're allowing them to flow into form. The moment you truly relax into this understanding, the moment you stop fighting against the very forces trying to deliver your desires, everything shifts. Opportunities appear that weren't there before. People show up to help in ways you couldn't have planned. Solutions arise that you couldn't have imagined. Synchronicities multiply until the impossible becomes inevitable. Starting tonight before you sleep, identify the number one area where you're forcing instead of flowing. Tomorrow morning, begin your 20-minute practice with complete commitment to ease over effort. This week, start paying attention to your energy investments and protecting your manifesting frequency. This month, track the correlation between your relaxation level and your result. This year, become the person who manifests through alignment instead of struggle. Your dreams aren't coming despite your relaxation. They're coming because of it. They're not waiting for you to become worthy through suffering. They're waiting for you to become available through alignment. They're not testing your determination through obstacles. They're guiding you toward growth through experiences. The universe has been trying to deliver everything you want, every single thing, but most people are so busy forcing, so caught up in struggle, so identified with limitation that they block the very delivery they're praying for. They're swimming upstream against the current that would carry them to their dream. Right now, in this exact moment, you have the power to change everything, not through more effort, not through better strategies, not through harder work, through the simple decision to relax into your power, through the choice to trust the process instead of controlling it, through the wisdom to flow with life instead of fighting against it. Everything you desire is flowing towards you right now. The question isn't whether you deserve it or whether it's possible. The question is whether you'll relax enough to receive it, whether you'll trust enough to allow it, whether you'll surrender enough to experience it. The moment you truly relax into your power, the universe exhales in relief and says, finally, now I can give you everything I've been trying to deliver. Your dreams aren't coming despite your relaxation. They're coming because of it. Start today. Start now. Relax and watch everything you desire find its way to you.